Colorado's vaccination database is also its million-dollar sweepstakes pool, which is why so many vaccinated people are upset their names don't show up. Denver's incoming school superintendent is hit with a lawsuit, allegations from his last school district. Hospitals hit a happy milestone. People coming in fearing they have COVID just have colds. We go looking for your good news this Friday in what seems like an unlikely place.
Every day that we do a service out here is special for the families that we're doing it for.
And this is the last show from the home basement studio that saw us through the worst of the pandemic and beyond. Anybody want the woodpile? No, I'm serious. You want the woodpile? All that is next. The show must go on. Well, I mean, this show's done with this basement studio after tonight, but the big show, talking the state's million-dollar vaccination giveaway, that will go on, despite issues with the database used to pick a winner out of every vaccinated adult in our state. Marshall Zellinger's looking into the issue.
The odds are getting worse. On Tuesday, your odds of winning $1 million for being vaccinated were 1 in 2.83 million. Today, they're 1 in 2.86 million. That's the number of people in Colorado who have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. Or is it?
Today we tried and it said no records.
Mary has a story that we've heard from quite a few of you this week. Vaccinated Coloradans who went to the Colorado Immunization Information System website to confirm the state has your vaccination status, just to find out you can't find yourself. Every name showing a COVID vaccination in the CIIS database by the end of Tuesday will be in next week's drawing for $1 million.
My concern is that a lot of people did the right thing and got their vaccines, and now they're not eligible because the deadline's on Tuesday, and that means the state has one working day to fix this.
I called the help desk, the CIIS help desk, and got a recording that said I could leave a message, but that it would be faster. They would have more availability to respond if I sent an email, which I did.
Jacqueline also cannot find her record in CIIS, though she suspects it might be because her birthday is not listed on her vaccination card and maybe didn't get submitted by her vaccine provider.
And then if I wanted to replace my card, if I were to lose it, then if I can't find myself, how are they going to find me?
A spokeswoman with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment told Next that just because you cannot find yourself does not mean you're not entered in the drawing or able to get a replacement card. The primary issue is connected to a mismatch between how the provider entered an individual's information in the database and how individuals are entering it in the portal. If there is a typo in the CIIS entry, the individual still is eligible for the drawing. I asked both Mary and Jacqueline if they cannot find their name in SIS and they don't win the $1 million, can they ever trust that they were truly entered in the drawing? Yeah, you guessed what their answer was. And Kyle, late tonight, an update about people who were vaccinated at a VA clinic. We heard from CDPHE that, yes, you will be entered into the drawing. How you can prove it, though, I don't know.
This is the worst, Marshall, because like it feeds into everybody's conspiracy theories just because it's like not spitting out results.
Hopefully it's resolved, and hopefully it truly is just a data processing error that maybe whoever put your vaccination record in spelled something wrong, put something in wrong, maybe your phone number's off, maybe it's really there and it matches your information, and for some reason the interwebs just don't want to connect for you. I lean toward trust, but, it's trust but verify, and I can't verify for some people.
All right. He's a skeptical man, and he leans towards trust. Marshall, thank you. Have a great weekend. He is not even officially Denver's new school superintendent yet, and there are allegations of what went down at Alex Marrero's last school district. Marrero is named in a federal lawsuit filed today against him and other leaders of his former school district in New Rochelle, New York. Suit was brought by the district's former medical director, Dr. Brooke Balshan. She says that Marrero, he was the interim superintendent there, and other district leaders tried to silence her during the pandemic. Specifically, she says that they retaliated against her when she raised concerns about the district's pandemic response. She says they excluded her from meetings, dismissed or ignored her public health advice, that there were threats and intimidation by the district's legal team. We've reached out to Denver Public Schools to see if they knew about these allegations before naming Marrero the new superintendent in Denver. They said they're checking on it. The unlicensed security guard charged with shooting and killing a man at dueling rallies last October in Denver is going to go to trial. Matthew Doloff pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder today. He's accused of shooting and killing 49-year-old Lee Keltner outside the Denver Art Museum on October 10th. Doloff was contracted through the company Pinkerton by 9 News to provide security for journalists who were covering the protests. Pinkerton had used a company called Isborne Security Services to contract Doloff. Pinkerton told Denver's Department of Excise and Licensing that it did not know that Doloff didn't have a license to work as a security guard in Denver. Doloff will next be in court at the beginning of August. His trial likely won't begin until early next year. His attorneys have maintained that he acted in self-defense. It's pretty clear that COVID's still here, though hospitals and ERs tell us they have reached a turning point. Because not every person coming in feeling crummy turns out to have COVID. Anusha Roy talked with an ER doctor who's never been happier to diagnose a cold.
It's different. You know, like this is the moment that we've kind of been waiting for.
For the first time in a long time.
I don't even know.
Dr. Camila Sasson came home not from 1, but 2 days working in the urgent care in the metro area this week with no new confirmed COVID cases.
When Oprah's like, you don't have a car, you know, you get a car, you get a car. And I was like, and you do not have COVID, you have a cold.
Dr. Sasson has been watching carefully as restrictions and mask guidance changed and is cautiously optimistic.
We know it's a delay of 2 to 4 weeks, right? That's usually when things start to pick up again. And so I think in a lot of ways, it was really nice to sort of say, okay, like it's working.
At Swedish, where most COVID patients come through the emergency department, the numbers are dropping off too. But the hospital is still very busy.
It's kind of bursting at the seams, and it's not COVID. It's just the return to normal life. You know, all the car accidents and strokes and heart attacks and stabbings.
I'm an intensive care specialist, so I'm very happy not to meet you.
In Denver Health's ICU unit, there are still people very sick with COVID, and they're just as busy compared to the peak fall surge, but for different reasons.
Substance abuse, medical lack of access, chronic illnesses that have deteriorated during the pandemic.
So our very tired healthcare providers still have a full plate of patients, but now it's for a bunch of different reasons. And the fact that COVID patients are starting to make up less of that has every doctor today saying thank you.
There's no doubt that this is a turning point. We will continue to see COVID for some time, I'm confident, if not forever. The big change is, I'm sure, driven by vaccination.
For Next, I'm Anusha Roy.
Every doctor we talked to today said most of the COVID patients coming in are not vaccinated, specifically at Denver Health. So there are 10 COVID patients sick enough to be in intensive care. 10. 9 of them unvaccinated. 1 partially vaccinated. Dr. Douglas with Denver Health said the age of people being admitted is on average 10 to 15 years younger than before vaccines were available. The Colorado Freedom Memorial in Aurora, first of its kind memorial, lists the name of every single Coloradan killed in every war. They're holding one of the few in-person Memorial Day events this weekend. It's tomorrow at 10 a.m. The folks who go out there, and you're welcome to, will see that part of that memorial is crumbling. The granite panels beneath the names. And I'm hoping that maybe together we could pay for the repairs out there. You have raised more than $22,000 this week for the nonprofit that runs the Colorado Freedom Memorial. They estimate that this structural repair work is going to cost them $30,000 to $50,000. If you're able to chip in $5 or more, it would mean a lot to them on this Memorial Day weekend. Text the word thanks to 303-871-1491, and I'll send you that link to join me in donating. If you have never been out to the memorial, please go. It's beautiful. And tell a friend to stop by the Freedom Memorial that you helped to repair. Thanks so much.
We're thinking we need to start changing the world so that he can go to the bathroom.
Determined parents ready to do what it takes so their kids can have the simple dignity enjoyed by everybody else. And I read all your suggestions about what to do with the woodpile when we close the home studio tonight. I'm thinking you all should take it. Next. By the time I became a dad, changing tables in men's restrooms were pretty much standard. Society saw an equity and access issue and fixed it for families. Parents of children with disabilities face a still persistent challenge as their kids outgrow standard changing tables.
All right, you want to play with your music? This is my son Cameron, and he is 6 years old. Oh, good job. When he was 10 months old, he was diagnosed with an aggressive brain tumor. He loves to go out and do stuff, and COVID messed it up, but now we're going out. And now that we're coming out of COVID and we're trying to get him out in the world, we're finding that he can't go to the bathroom. We're having trouble finding places that are accessible. We've changed him in some really weird places, sometimes like in the car, but it doesn't really work. They do have family restrooms, which is, if you're gonna be on the floor, a family restroom is way better. So hey, but he doesn't need to be on the bathroom floor. It's gross, it's really gross. Even the clean ones are gross. We all have a story like that.
You want to show them your swing? This is Michaela's therapy room. We call it a playroom. She can see the lights, and it's just, she loves it. Michaela is 9 years old. She has spastic quad cerebral palsy. Everywhere that she has gone, there has not been a restroom for her. Like the airport, for example, I've changed her in a hallway on the floor. Like, we don't talk about it. And so nobody knows it's a problem. I feel that people with disabilities, and I know my daughter, like, we don't have our voice doesn't matter. I don't feel like we're heard.
Ready, set, go! We don't blame anybody, we just need people to know, and I think awareness would help. It's more than a bathroom, it's you're missing out on life, and that's awful because you already have enough challenges.
Our thanks to Lauren and Christy for sharing their perspective with our photojournalist Foster Gaines. Both moms are part of a newly formed group of parents called the Colorado Accessibility Project. They're looking to introduce legislation to change restrooms in large public spaces. I swear, if I had $1 for every time that a next viewer asked me to send them a piece of this woodpile that we've been staring at for the last year, got kind of famous during the pandemic, well, I would have a lot of dollars. I would rather see one of our great Word of Thanks nonprofits get those dollars instead. So let's do it. Next week marks 1 year of your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaigns, and we are going to turn the woodpile into literal tokens of appreciation for the $3.8 million that you have raised for charity. We're slicing up all the little logs, we're stamping them with a next logo. I'm signing the back as a thank you to you for all that you have done for people in our state. Now, we won't know exactly how many tokens of appreciation we will get out of the woodpile until the woodworking is done, but I've done some figuring, and I'm hoping that we'll get about 2,000 of them. Next week's Word of Thanks nonprofit does amazing work in our community. They change the lives of struggling families for generations. And I'm going to sit down with some volunteers from that nonprofit and stuff all these little woodpile tokens into thank you notes to you guys until we run out of woodpile pieces. And that goes for whether you can give $5 or give $500. I'm really hoping that this is going to help raise a lot of money for a fantastic nonprofit in Colorado. So next Wednesday is when we will announce the nonprofit, and as many next viewers as possible will receive a token of my appreciation. You know, a little memento of the year that we spent down here talking to each other. It's Friday. Time for your good news. Is it really possible to find it here?
It is, because
really
because we get to teach my grandson, the respect of his past relatives.
Good news and good perspective ahead of Memorial Day. And final thoughts, yours and mine, about how a little TV show in somebody's basement managed to bring people closer together during our time apart. Next. This is the 251st Friday that we have gone out in search of your good news, and we have found it in some unlikely places, but never before at a cemetery. It's always been about sharing your outlook in the best and the worst times in life. Here's what we heard from the families who were out visiting Fort Logan National Cemetery ahead of Memorial Day weekend.
Rifle team and hut. We're Fort Logan. Present home. I'm part of the Honor Guard, and we're here to do services for fallen veterans. Joe Mendelson, I was in the Navy, 1967 to 1971. Ready, fire! Every day that we do a service out here is special for the families that we're doing it for. Fire!
I'm Bill Hines, a Served in the Air Force from 1957 to 1977. I'm proud to be with this group. These guys are amazing, and somebody will do it for us someday. So, you know, recovered, present, harm. Chuck Blemmer down there is our World War II veteran. Jumped out of airplanes, crazy guy.
We was slated to invade the mainland of Japan, and they dropped the 2 bombs, so we didn't have to invade. It's an honor to do the funerals for the veterans. But when I was a kid, it wasn't Memorial Day. It was Decoration Day. That meant we went to our relatives and decorated their graves.
Well, we're going to put flowers down now. Okay, this is your great-grandfather's 5th Army, and he was in World War II. Well, I am Scott Samuelson. This is my brother Jay Samuelson, and my grandson is Wyatt Line. Something we do every year. So let's put the red, white, and blue ones on this side for him. It is because
really good.
Because we get to teach my grandson, you know, the respect of his past relatives. So pretty cool, huh?
Really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Perspectives from some of our neighbors out at Fort Logan through the lens of our photojournalist Mike Grady.
Sunshine and 82 in Denver today. Clouds are rolling in tonight, and we're tracking some isolated gusty thunderstorms. More widespread thunderstorm activity expected tomorrow with the arrival of this front from the north. And when the colder air mixes in, that rain could mix with snow around 10,000 feet. So those hiking and biking over the weekend and in the high country need to be mindful we might have snow. The Front Range and Eastern Plains is going to be rain and thunder, and at times that rain could be heavy. Tonight, partly cloudy, 51 degrees. Tomorrow, increasing clouds, cooler, high 70. A good chance of rain from storms on Sunday and Monday, a cool holiday, and then a warming and drying trend for the first week of June.
Viewer Carol wrote in just a few minutes ago to say this is our last dinner date. She said, as a widow since last April, I've enjoyed having dinner with you and Next each night. Really helped me feel personally part of this community. I'm very glad to hear that, Carol. One final thought about the time that we have shared here together before we turn off the lights on the home studio. Next. This is the last night that Next will come to you from my home studio. 441 days since I first invited you into my home after years of you inviting me into your home. We have sat here and talked about some of the toughest times that our state has seen. And then together we cheered the recovery. It's allowing life to go back to normal. We kept meeting here months after I went back to the 9 News studios for the other newscasts because so many of you said that you preferred this to be the place where we have these conversations. A viewer named Melanie recently said, seeing you hosting Next from your basement makes me feel like everything was going to be okay. We can be resilient and figure out how to continue on with our lives while enduring unexpected and challenging circumstances. We all now take the resilience that we've gained from the last year, and we go forward in life with new perspectives. It has been a pleasure having you here at the house. If you excuse me, I am now going to go upstairs to enjoy, one more time, a rare treat in my line of work. I'm going to have dinner with my family. Thanks for coming over. I'll see you next time.